Have you ever watched an Aronofsky movie and just been gripped from start to finish? The movie that did this for me was Black Swan, which to this day is my favourite movie of all time, and is a massive reason why I love films. But what is it about Aronofsky's directing style which grips the audience so well? I believe this is in some part down to his ability to create the feeling of isolation in his films so effectively. This feeling of isolation is what makes us care so much about the characters and the story. Now I'm going to show you a small scene from the film Requiem for a Dream, and by the end of the video we should be able to pick out why isolation is so well conveyed in Aronofsky's movies. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay, we'll come back to that later. But firstly, let's talk about what I think is Aronofsky's signature move when it comes to filmmaking. For lack of a better term, I'm going to call it the Aronofsky close-up long shot. Yes, that is the best name I could come up with. However, unlike the name, the shot itself is far less flimsy and incredibly effective. What it is an extreme close-up on an actor followed by a consecutive long shot like this. This creates an effect that conveys isolation to the audience as we see their face close up, we see their emotions very closely, and we get very personal and intimate with the character before being placed further away where we can see the character is all alone, and this makes us sympathise with the character. Let's stick with Requiem for a Dream for a second. Aronofsky uses the shot in three main stages. He first establishes the two characters who are isolated together at the beginning of the film. Then look at how he uses the exact same technique to show us they're growing apart. The very simple blocking of the shot conveys this to us. And finally, at the end of the movie, the technique is used again, and they are now completely separated from each other, which really conveys this feeling of isolation. As a director, you can play about with this technique and get a slightly different effect each time, which Aronofsky does a lot in his entire filmography. But this isn't the only trick Aronofsky uses to create isolation. Look at this shot in Requiem for a Dream, or this one in Black Swan, or this one in Pi. The use of mirrors is something that Aronofsky clearly focuses on in his films. In interviews, he likes to talk about mirrors as part of his work, but doesn't ever give too much away.
In the film is kind of manipulated a little bit. You know, there's different things going on, different things. Yeah,
like what?
Well,
you don't want to reveal your secrets, you magician of film.
In the movie he's talking about, Black Swan, mirrors are used a lot for the thriller aspects of the movie, the scares and the stuff like that, but are also used to create this feeling of isolation, that Nina is all alone, which is why the shot works so well. We get the effect and the feeling of her being alone, but we also see the fact that she's fighting a battle with her own mind through this mirror shot. So Aronofsky actually achieves the effect of isolation and conflict in one single shot. Pretty impressive, right? And the final thing that Aronofsky utilises to create the feeling of isolation within his films is angle. He uses this differently to create a slightly different effect. He uses the low camera angle a fair bit in his films, but in this video we're focusing on how he creates the feeling of isolation, so we're looking at when he uses an elevated camera angle. When Aronofsky puts the camera up high, and we as the audience are looking down at the characters, this physically makes the characters look smaller to us, thus more vulnerable. This is added to by the awkward positions in the room we watch from. It's actually quite unsettling and uncomfortable for us as audience members to watch from this angle. This is because it feels like we are intruding on personal and quite often depressing moments for the people in his movies, and what we are seeing is not meant to be seen by us. But this helps the theme of isolation that runs through Aronofsky's films as a result of the effect of vulnerability and weakness that we subconsciously feel towards the characters in these moments. Now, the reason I played that clip from Requiem for a Dream was because all three of these devices that Aronofsky uses to create a feeling of isolation are on full display here. Let's take another look. All three of these things together create the effect of loneliness and isolation in Aronofsky's films. If one was missing, then the effect would not be as successful. And this is how Aronofsky can create characters that we care about and stories that hold our attention so well. And here's a little bonus, look at Aronofsky's directing as a whole. So let's say you want two characters to mend a broken relationship together. You might have them in a wide shot, standing apart, and then them coming together like this. A good director would cut away there, as there's nothing more added to the plot in these 5 to 10 seconds after they hug. But a great director like Aronofsky understands that much more meaning for the rest of the film can be conveyed by doing one simple thing: stay on the characters, show them walk away into the dark abyss afterwards. This subconsciously places a seed of doubt in the audience's mind that the two characters will ever see each other again. Anyway, that's the video today. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. In the meantime, stay safe out there.